You won't believe how many children these reggae legends really fathered. The numbers will shock you. Some abandoned their kids, while others built dynasties. Stick around because the last artist story will leave you speechless. This isn't just about music. It's about secrets, scandals, and legacies that will change how you see these icons forever. Aston Francis Barrett was never just a bassist. He was a foundation, the thunder beneath Bob Marley's melodies, the man whose groove guided generations of reggae rhythm. They called him Family Man before the name made literal sense, before the dozens of cries and giggles filled his household. Not because he had children at the time, but because he envisioned himself a father, not just to kids, but to a movement. But when the years rolled by and the curtains of time parted, the world saw the true magnitude of that name. 41 children bore his blood, 23 daughters and 18 sons, from unions that stretched across decades, generations, and cities. His family extended into grandchildren, 23 of them, and even great-grandchildren. Aston Francis Barrett passed away in 2024 at age 77 in Miami, Florida. Heart failure may have silenced his beat, but the echoes of his legacy move in rhythms that still shake dance floors. Next on our list is O'Neal Bryan. O'Neal Bryan entered the scene like a lightning bolt, loud and electrifying. Under the name Elephant Man, his voice and presence commanded every stage, every radio wave, every speaker stacked on ghetto street corners. But his wild spirit didn't stop at dance moves and punchy hooks. At just 17 years old, he became a father, and what followed was not just a string of hits, but a whirlwind of names, faces, and bloodlines. By the time he spoke with Winford Williams in 2012, he admitted, without flinching, to fathering children with 20 different women. But that was over a decade ago. The son who once bore the name of Shawnee Bryan, now known as Gene Yen, came forward with a heartbreaking revelation. His father had disowned him, and not just him, but others too. The numbers began to blur. 40? More? The question remained unanswered. But what stood as truth was this. O'Neal Bryan's legacy was loud, not just in decibels, but in descendants. Next on our list is Denroy Morgan. When Denroy Morgan arrived in America at 20, he carried with him more than ambition. He carried a flame that would light up family trees across continents. A voice that fused roots, reggae, and gospel, and a vision that would stretch far beyond his own records. The founder of the Black Eagles, and later a solo success, Denroy wasn't just a father to his own children. He was the patriarch of a dynasty. 30 children bore his name. 104 grandchildren followed. 15 great-grandchildren completed the circle. Names like Gramps Morgan and Liza Morgan carried his musical torch into new arenas, while Morgan Heritage Band fortified the family's place in reggae royalty. Cancer claimed Denroy Morgan on March 3rd, 2022, in Lawrenceville, Georgia. But the numbers he left behind told a story of a man who lived and loved in abundance, whose seed filled stages, homes, and hearts around the world. Next on our list is Horace. Horace Keith Hines was a kind of artist whose voice lingered in the soul long after the record ended. The man known to the world as Horace Andy gave the world Skylarking and Angel, but behind the mic and the spotlight was a man of intimate entanglements and endless devotion. 17 women, 30 children, each with stories, names, and pieces of his DNA. In an era of fleeting connections, Horace Andy's relationships, though many, created enduring ties. On a podcast appearance, he spoke of it, not with pride, not with regret, but with the weary acknowledgement of a man who has lived 1,000 lives. A 5-decade career didn't just bring accolades, it brought responsibility. Behind the applause, there were mouths to feed and lessons to teach. Every beat he sang came from a man whose love couldn't be contained in one home. Next on our list is Ninja Man. Desmond John Ballantyne, better known as Ninja Man, was a paradox in motion, known for pro-fire weapon lyrics that shook Jamaica's dancehall core, and a voice that sliced through the air like a blade. His personal life was complex as his lyrics. But it wasn't just the music that was wild, it was his reality. 23 children, 22 women, no pattern, no prediction, just a man following fire wherever it led. But his flame burned too hot. In 2009, Ninja Man, and his son Janiel were arrested in connection to a life-taking of Ricardo Johnson. Conviction followed. Life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Behind bars, the dancehall king could no longer hold court. But out in the world, his children remained, a reflection of passion, chaos, and the unraveling power of fame without restraint. Next on our list is Buju Banton. Mark Anthony Myrie came to be known as Buju Banton, a man with a voice that didn't just sing reggae, it preached it. He blended genres, collaborated with hip-hop kings, punk rock rebels, and roots revivalists. His name became synonymous with evolution, but the children came just as prolifically as the albums. 17 lives linked by his last name. Some embraced the connection. Others, like Jehaziel and Abihail Myrie, did not. They spoke out, accusing their father of abandonment, of being a ghost in their upbringing. The public listened. The silence that followed only made the accusations echo louder. Buju Banton, for all his poetic cadence, found his real-life verses harder to recite. His discography grows, but so do the questions of legacy, responsibility, and redemption. Behind every lyric of liberation lies a child wondering why the voice that inspired millions went missing at home. Next on our list is Bob Marley. Robert Nesta Marley's name is etched in the heavens of reggae. A prophet in dreadlocks, a messenger of peace, a rebel with rhythm. But Bob Marley wasn't just a revolutionary. He was a lover. His heart stretched across borders. His passion burned through barriers. 13 children carried his blood, 3 with his wife Rita Marley, 2 adopted from her, the rest from a constellation of women whose paths crossed with the star. One child, Imani Marley, was notably absent from his official legacy, her name missing from the records. Another, Medika Marley, entered the world 2 weeks after Bob Marley left it. The timelines overlap like musical bars. His body may have succumbed to cancer, but his legacy pulsed on in every song, every poster, and every child bearing his face. Next on our list is Stephen Marley. Stephen Marley, the second son of Bob Marley and Rita Marley, did more than inherit a name. He inherited the weight of a legacy. His voice, as haunting and powerful as his father's, won him 8 Grammy Awards. 3 alone, 2 as a producer for Damian Marley's Seismic albums, and 3 with the Melody Makers. But beyond the lights, the plaques, and the lyrics, Stephen bore another inheritance, the gift and burden of fatherhood. 13 children, each representing a continuation of the Marley bloodline, each another verse in the family's ongoing ballad. But tragedy struck. His eldest son, Joseph Marley, known to fans as Joe Mercer, died at just 31 years old from an asthma attack in 2022. The silence left behind was deafening. In that silence, Stephen stood, not just as performer, but as a father mourning a son whose voice was silenced far too soon. Next on our list is Bunny Wailer. Neville O'Reilly Livingston, known to the world as Bunny Wailer, was 1/3 of the sacred trinity that birthed the Wailers. A spiritual guide in reggae's temple, his rhythms carried the sound of revolution. But behind the mystique and legacy lay a personal tale less often told. 13 children stood behind his name, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows of a father who saw the world as his mission. In 2018, he suffered a minor stroke that slowed his speech. In 2020, he lost his wife, Jean Watt, who disappeared while battling dementia, vanishing from their home, her fate still unknown. Another stroke came, and on March 2nd, 2021, Bunny Wailer passed. His music was eternal, but his children, 13 souls, remain the living chords of melody that began decades ago in Trench Town. Next on our list is Gregory Anthony Isaacs. Gregory Anthony Isaacs, called the Cool Ruler, was a paradox, a romantic, a rebel, a crooner with a soul dipped in honey and soaked in heartbreak. His whisper-soft voice belied the turbulence of a life lived without breaks. By the time the world crowned him a legend, Gregory Isaacs had amassed not just fans, but a family. 12 children, 6 grandchildren. Behind every note of night nurse and rumors was a man whose nights often ended in tangled sheets and whispered promises. He passed away on October 25, 2010, from lung cancer. But long before the disease dimmed his light, his legacy had taken root in hearts, homes, and bloodlines that now stretch across continents. Next on our list is John Kenneth Holt. John Kenneth Holt, a name that swayed to the golden era of rocksteady and reggae, was more than the velvet behind a microphone. With songs like Stick By Me and The Tide Is High, he serenaded generations into calm reverie. Yet beyond the speakers, Holt's life thrummed with its own rhythm, one driven by love, loss, and legacy. He had 12 children, each one carrying the echo of his voice and the melody of his genes. Behind him stood his devoted wife, Valerie, who remained his anchor through fame's unpredictable tides. His performances spanned decades, but in August 2014, the rhythm faltered. After falling ill during the One Love Festival, he was diagnosed with colon cancer and died 2 months later on October 19th. His 25 grandchildren are a testament to the permanence of his presence, a family chorus still singing in harmony with his spirit. Next on our list is Peter Tosh. Peter Tosh, born Winston Hubert McIntosh, was reggae's militant voice, a warrior of rhythm, a firebrand who refused to whisper when he could roar. From the moment he co-founded the Wailers with Bob Marley and Bunny Wailer, his destiny was set to echo through generations. But Tosh's life was not just a tale of revolution and resistance. It was also one of deep personal ties. He fathered 10 children, some of whom, like Jawar McIntosh, also known as Tosh One, took up the lyrical sword protest. His relationship with Melody Cunningham bore Andrew Tosh, a son who would carry his flame. His youngest child, Niambi, was born in the late 1980s, just before Peter Tosh's own light was extinguished. In 1987, a home invasion ended Peter Tosh. The reggae warrior, the firebrand prophet, was gone. But his children remained, carrying not just his DNA, but his defiant spirit. Next on our list is Dennis Brown. Dennis Emmanuel Brown was the kind of artist whose voice felt like sunlight on sorrow. Known as the crown prince of reggae and Bob Marley's personal favorite, his songs pour like honey over broken hearts and battered souls. Yet behind the velvet of his voice lived a man of complexities, a man who, despite his tender ballads, fathered a storm of children, 10 confirmed, though some accounts stretch that number to 13. His wife, Yvonne Brown, stood firm to the surges of fame, the shadows of addiction, and the chaos of touring life. But even her strength couldn't save him when a collapsed lung and cardiac arrest brought his journey to a halt on July 1st, 1999. The world mourned a singer, but his children mourned a father. And through their veins, the beat of lovers' rock still pulses, timeless and unbreakable. Then there was Miguel Orlando Collins, who the world knows as Sizzla Kalonji, a man whose stage presence often blurred the lines between preacher and performer, a devout Rasta, fiercely protective of his culture, and unapologetically prolific in every sense. His lyrics championed righteousness, repatriation, and revolution. But what lay behind the mic was a personal life as fertile as his discography. While the exact number of children remains shrouded in ambiguity, whispers from August Town and online forums suggest Sizzla may have fathered at least 11, possibly more. In interviews, he often deflects such questions with grin, choosing instead to speak of fatherhood as a sacred mission. Every child, he says, is a blessing, and if his music is any indication, each of those blessings inspires another verse, another album, another rebellion in rhyme. Next on our list is Beenie Man. Anthony Moses Davis, crowned by fans as Beenie Man, declared himself the king of dancehall, and not without merit. For decades, his presence dominated every rhythm, every clash, every stage from Jamaica to Tokyo. But the same charisma that electrified his performances also electrified his personal life. By his own admission, he has fathered 12 children with 11 different women, from his high-profile relationship with D'Angel, which gave birth to son Marco Dean Davis, to lesser-known unions scattered across the island. Beenie Man's family tree sprawls like a map of dancehall's golden age. Yet, unlike some of his peers, he embraces his role publicly. His social media bursts with family photos, birthday dedications, and behind-the-scenes clips of a father dancing with his children. To Beenie, the throne he sits on isn't just musical, it's paternal. Next on our list is Vybz Kartel. Adidja Azim Palmer, known worldwide as Vibes Cartel, redefined modern dancehall with a voice that slithered through speakers like smoke. His influence is unmatched, his controversy legendary. But beyond the music and the prison bars lies a man who fathered 7 children, some of whom, like Lickle Vibes and Lickle Addy, are already carving their own musical paths. From his cell, Cartel remains an ever-present force, guiding his sons' careers and proclaiming their greatness. In their lyrics, in their ambition, you hear echoes of his hustle, his fire, his legacy. For Vibes Cartel, fatherhood isn't just about biology, it's about dynasty. Next on our list is Beres Hammond. Beres Hammond, the elder statesman of romantic reggae, often sings of love lost, love found, and love eternal. But rarely does he speak of his own private affairs. Still, the rumors persist. 6 children, perhaps more, born quietly in the margins of careers spent caressing hearts. His lyrics, while deeply personal, never draw back the curtain entirely. The man who gave the world Rockaway and They Gonna Talk prefers to keep his family out of the spotlight. Yet those who know, those who've seen him at family events or caught glimpses of him as a grandfather, whisper of a man who loves deeply and guards fiercely. His silence is not denial, it is protection. Next on our list is Mad Cobra. Ewart Everton Brown, better known as Mad Cobra, roared onto the scene with aggressive anthems and unapologetic lyrics. But offstage, he walked a different line. Over the years, he fathered 6 children. His relationship with them, much like his career, has seen highs and lows. There were times when music took precedence, when tours pulled him away from home. But with age came reflection. Today, the once fiery DJ speaks of legacy, of ensuring his children understand his journey. Not to glorify it, but to learn from it. Next on our list is Bounty K. Rodney Basil Price, a name synonymous with authority in dancehall, a man whose influence birthed empires. His relationship with his children, while not as publicly documented, is real and present. He's spoken of them occasionally, with a pride that bubbles beneath his gravelly voice. At last count, Bounty was a father of 6, and though he once confessed being an imperfect man, he declared his commitment to fatherhood as the one arena where growth is not just possible, but mandatory. Next on our list is Capleton. Capleton, Clifton George Bailey III, stood tall as reggae's fireman, a devout Rastafarian, a voice of cultural redemption, and a father of 5. To Capleton, fatherhood is not measured in numbers, but in teachings. He raises his children with the same fire he breathes into his lyrics, pushing them toward righteousness, self-respect, and purpose. In his eyes, every child is a soldier in the battle for spiritual clarity. And so this tangled narrative of rhythms and roots, of legacies written in lyrics and lullabies, stretches across decades and genres. These men, reggae and dancehall giants, built families as massive as their musical catalogs. Some embraced the role of father, others fled from its weight. But in every corner of the Caribbean and far beyond, there are sons and daughters who carry not just famous last names, but the complex, often painful, always profound stories that come with them. Each beat that thumps through Kingston streets carries whispers of these men. Their voices may fade, their albums may crackle with age, but their children, scattered across parishes, countries, and continents, remain the ultimate chorus. Which artist's story surprised you the most? Were you shocked by the number of children or the family drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now, because you won't want to miss the next jaw-dropping reveal.